How Alexis Mac Allister will fit in at Liverpool. Jürgen Klopp has made his first signing of the summer, bringing McAllister in from Brighton for under £45 million. McAllister's a player that's capable of playing all roles in midfield. A deep line playmaker, more of an attacking Matt Zahler in midfield, as well as a number 10 operating behind or next to a striker. McAllister's addition to the Liverpool squad is a good one. Liverpool need bodies in that area. For too long, Liverpool have negated that zone. Of course, there was a lot of talk of Jude Bellingham joining Liverpool and that being their marquee signing, but for me, signing a number of bodies is going to be a far better strategy in the long run. Liverpool need 2 to 3 midfielders to add a real bit of energy in that central zone. So McAllister as a midfielder for Liverpool will fit in the 4-3-3. I think he'll either operate as the left central midfielder, moving into the attacking unit as Trent Alexander-Arnold inverts, or alternatively will play in the deeper role looking to get on the ball. I think in games against weaker teams, Liverpool could throw more attacking bodies in there, bringing in the likes of Curtis Jones, who had a really good end to the season in terms of goals and assists, throwing him into that inside left position and getting McAllister to play as that kind of deep line playmaker. We all know about Brighton and how they build up with a box at the base. Liverpool have kind of moved to this structure with Trent inverting. I think one of the concerns I've got with Fabinho in this position is he's just not good enough on the ball in comparison to a McAllister. With McAllister in that position, Liverpool can take pressure on, can draw their opponents into their box and then play through. One of the big reasons why Brighton are so good, or have been so good with McAllister in that defensive midfield position, is he's fantastic at breaking that first line with a little bit of movement, receiving on the blind side of the opposition, receiving, turning and then playing through. This would massively connect Liverpool's defence and attack, having a player of McAllister's quality. Of course, a lot of the build-up at the back end of the season came through Trent Alexander-Arnold. He had a lot of touches of the football, completed a lot of passes, but having that dual threat in defensive midfield that Liverpool could possess with McAllister playing in Fabinho's position would allow them to really progress the play. I think one of the concerns of losing Fabinho in that position is having a dedicated ball winner. Fabinho won the ball back for Liverpool 102 times through tackles and interceptions. Trent Alexander-Arnold was second on that list with 100. But McAllister isn't too far away from them with 92 tackles plus interceptions in the Premier League this season. In fact, if you just look at the tackles won statistic, McAllister would rank second in the Liverpool squad. So he's not, that bad against the ball. I think he's a player that tackles well, that wins his duels well in those areas, which would allow Liverpool to play another ball-dominated defensive midfielder, allowing them to really open up the opponent. Of course, I expect McAllister to play probably higher up the pitch in most games, Fabinho being that lighthouse, as Pep Lijnders calls it, at the base of midfield, winning it back, giving McAllister that ability to play in the final third. Of course, as De Zerbi joined Brighton earlier on this season, McAllister had been used a lot in defensive midfield by Graham Potter, and it was actually after the World Cup when McAllister played in a higher position for Argentina that when he came back, De Zerbi started to play him in a higher role, usually in that attacking midfield position. For Brighton, of course, they kind of operate in a sense of both of their two forwards will come to the ball and they'll create this kind of, this kind of six structure of two boxes to play through. So McAllister's very, very suited to dropping off the line and getting on the ball. Of course, I'd probably suggest that, there was another player added to the Liverpool team, maybe a Harvey Elliott in this moment, just because he's a better attacker on that right-hand side than Jordan Henderson, to balance that midfield. Of course, both of the forwards, McAllister and Gakpo, dropping off the line to utilise that possession play. Into the final third for McAllister, what would he bring Liverpool? Well, I think the big thing that he'd bring is creativity. The stats are really, really interesting for McAllister. He's in the top 1% of players in Europe for expected goals, shots on target and shots taken. He's in the top 2% of players from goals from midfield, and you're looking at the through balls, top 5%. Shot creating actions from a dribble, top 6%. And if you actually break down the Liverpool squad, McAllister created 8 shots from dribbles. So following him, receiving the ball and then carrying and then creating a shot for himself or creating for his teammate. In terms of the Liverpool squad, only Salah has got more shot creating actions last season in the Premier League than Alexis Mac Allister. And I think that will add a little bit of quality in the final third for Liverpool. I think when the ball is worked wide into those wide areas, then a chance is created. What I like about Mac Allister, he's really good at arriving into the cutback zone, as I like to call it, sort of, between the 6-yard area and the penalty spot. When the winger on the outside, you know, a Jota or a Luis Diaz again would be probably the player suited for this role to beat his man, then cut the ball back. McAllister is really good at finding little areas of space in the penalty area, but I think one of the things that he really needs to improve or get better at is finishing from this position. He's pretty decent with his head, he's pretty decent with his feet, but I think one of the things that he needs to do is consistently find the corners. There's a lot of chances this season for Brighton where, you know, the ball has broken to him in the penalty area after Mitoma's, you know, beat his man 1v1 in the dribble, and McAllister hasn't simply put the ball in the back of the net. I think one, you know, good example of that would be the game against Chelsea in the Premier League. He had two really good opportunities against Chelsea to open up the score. And if you have a look at the game, he missed one big opportunity, but another chance inside the box, 5 shots on goal. I like that he's getting into the penalty area. I like that he's getting into these good zones. We can see his heat map is kind of deep in the box, but he needs to start putting the ball in the back of the net. In terms of in the Premier League, only Salah and Darwin Núñez had a higher expected goals when discount penalties than McAllister. He gets into the positions, needs to start scoring consistently to be a dangerous player for Liverpool. I think from a creative sense, of course, we mentioned that through ball statistic before. Only Trent, Robertson, Salah and Núñez again had a higher expected assists than McAllister in the Premier League. So what that means for Liverpool in this inside channel, in this inside position when they've progressed to play, McAllister is very dangerous at finding that through ball, which I think not only would be good for Luis Diaz, who'd be the player in close proximity, but also with Cody Gakpo dropping off the line and getting involved. Mohamed Salah on the other flank, getting him in behind the defence, could be a really good part of Liverpool's play. I think they lack a little bit of quality in the final third, or have lacked that quality in the final third from these inside positions from central midfield in Jürgen Klopp's reign. I think McAllister adds that real quality in that zone. So I think there's a lot of positives for McAllister. I think one of the big things he will, you know, he's a good presser. For Brighton, he usually, you know, presses in the high position in their kind of defensive 4-4-2 shape. He will join the forward and press high and be super aggressive to win the ball back. That instantly, you know, slots into Jürgen Klopp's mentality, to his ideas. That shouldn't be a difficult evolution of his game, you know, adding that gegenpressing, aggressive side. And I think Liverpool, what they really need is legs in midfield. They need players that press, players that are aggressive. You know, I don't think McAllister's is not his biggest strength, but I think there's something that he could really evolve and grow into because he's got the basic parts of his game. I think he just needs to add that little bit of aggression, which would really help. I think one of the good goals that he scored this season, he actually robbed, I think it was Douglas Luiz on the edge of the Aston Villa box when Brighton played them in the Premier League. Robbed the ball from the edge of the box, carried through, and then fired a goal home. The flip side of that, he actually got caught out by Douglas Luiz pressing him, and Brighton conceded the goal. So there's that duality there, but I think there's a lot of benefits of McAllister joining Liverpool. I don't know if it's the exact transfer I would have made, but I think it provides Liverpool with something they've not got. I think in terms of the signing, it reminds me a lot more of a kind of Pep Lijnders signing, in a sense of a player that's got a lot of quality in possession. It's a real good footballer that has also got the, you know, the pressing side as well, but it's different to a, let's say, a Wijnaldum, a classic, you know, a Jordan Henderson, that Liverpool engine midfielder. So I think Liverpool's still got to go into the market and pick someone up that's going to provide that energy, you know, someone like a Manu Kone or an Enzo Lafay, two players that I think have got real quality in those moments. But I do think it's a decent signing. I'm slightly concerned just in terms of where he exactly fits in for Liverpool. But if Klopp can build his system on, again, we mentioned the evolution of the system with Trent inside, that kind of diamond 3-8 concept that Manchester City play with. If that's where they go next, McAllister could be a good asset in that position. The big thing, he needs to improve his chance conversion inside the box to be a success at Liverpool. But again, he's shown he's improved over his career so far in the Premier League with Brighton. So yeah, again, there's a lot to be excited about for Liverpool fans. They might not have got Jude Bellingham, but McAllister is a decent signing. I potentially would have gone with Moises Caicedo for Liverpool because I think Fabinho's that position that really needs upgrading, but the price might be 80-90 million pounds. So you're signing McAllister for, you know, 45. Is that good value? Yes. Could they find another player to play that position? Probably yes. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Will McAllister be a success at Liverpool, and how do you think he'll fit in? Will he play this attacking role that we spoke about as a 3-8, or will it be in that deeper defensive midfield role with Liverpool throwing in more attackers in there, maybe Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones? Let me know in the comments below. I've been Statman Dave. Subscribe if you're new. We'll see you later.